We are working on doing a video mailbag here, getting your faces on the show. To help accomplish that, go download the Hi-Ho app. It's a video Q&A app. You can follow us at Cowboys, and we'll tell you more about them later on in today's show. Super chat from Cuba Cowboys. How the offensive line looking like this year? Well, early at minicamp and OTAs, not the one you're accustomed to. Tyron Smith and Lael Collins are on the right path, but Dallas is being very cautious. They weren't really out there at minicamp and OTAs. Connor Williams was getting the left guard work. Connor McGovern over there getting some right guard work. Zach Martin still recovering as well from some stuff. Tyler Biadasz was the center. Kind of a rotation on the offensive line. Mostly Ty Nsekhe, Brandon Knight, and Terrence Steele. We'll see how Josh Ball comes along as the preseason and training camp begin to unfold. From Thomas Leach, great first name, my friend, a super chat. Injury concerns have followed Cooper all through his career. Keeping Gallup next year is becoming more and more important. Yes and no. Cooper has battled plenty of injuries throughout his NFL career, but he hasn't actually missed that much time. It's kind of like the whole Julio Jones discussion. Before this past year, Julio was missing practices and still balling out every game. Cooper's only 26. Now, if the injuries continue to pile up, the Cowboys have an out in Cooper's contract. They can move on if they need to. But if Cooper comes back fine and plays in every game this year, then you got the discussion of Cooper Gallup. Of course, you can pick both if you want, but the Cowboys might not choose to do so. Speaking of Cooper and Gallup and Lamb, Edward Gardner, a question. Is that trio the best one in the NFL? I will always be honest. I will never go full homer. I think they're number 2. I love this Cowboys trio. It is a very clear-cut top 2 for me. Gallup, Lamb, and Cooper are awesome, but I think at least right now, doesn't it still have to be Tampa if we're including only receivers? Isn't it Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and then whatever other depth you want there? I go with the Bucs. Now, if you want to count tight ends, maybe you could work the Chiefs in that conversation, but it's Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, and Hardman. It's not that great there. So, what I want you guys to do right now is rank the Cowboys wide receiver trio in the NFL. I got them 2. I'm sure we'll see plenty of 1s, and I'm not sure how many numbers higher than that we will end up seeing. So get your votes in for me. Rank the Cowboys wide receiver trio in the NFL. We are working on doing a video mailbag here for you guys on the Cowboys Report. Not just your questions, but your faces as well. To help us accomplish that, go download the Hi-Ho app. It is a video Q&A app. You can submit your questions. The post calling form looks a little bit like this one. Shout out intern James for taking the photo. Looks terrible. Either way, it's at chatsports.com/Cowboys Hi-Ho. Download that app. Get it set up, make your account. Submit your video questions. We have an elite handle there, at Cowboys. Jerry Jones in shambles here. If we get enough questions, we will do a video Q&A. Your faces on the show, not just your names or your questions, but your faces as well. So go download and submit your questions today on the Hi-Ho app, chatsports.com/Cowboys Hi-Ho. From Joey Draetta, I can't hide it. I'm excited for Dan Quinn. Hearing all these stories about how the players love him, how he's hands-on, how Bash never knew he was positioning wrong. Look, to be fair, Bash put a lot for the Jets, and they were bad, so maybe don't read too much into that. It is this time of the year where we are excited, and you can easily drink the Kool-Aid. I feel better about Dan Quinn than I do about Mike Nolan right now. But I don't want to overreact necessarily because I do that every year, and it's only June. We have to hold off a little bit longer from that one. From Jacob M. Tom, if you were to play a position in football, what would it be? Back when I played, before I quit to go do golf because I was way better at golf, secondary was my go-to there as we got producer Sam just throwing stuff behind the camera. What are you doing there, dude? You're going to fall again and break something. Secondary was my favorite. Why do I think I talk so much about safeties? Because it was fun. By the way, I was never actually all that good. Turns out that slow and short was not particularly a great combination for a secondary player. Offense was more receiver, but never that great. Understood at a very high level, but talent-wise, never had it. From David D.K. Pereira, is it possible Nahshon Wright starts week 1? Brown is really bad, and Joseph is missing opportunities. So you're right that Joseph is missing opportunities. Stick around, we'll talk more about that later on in today's live show. Anthony Brown gets a bum rap. He's not nearly as bad as really bad. If Wright continues to impress and Joseph doesn't quite get things on path, which I don't think will happen, I think he will get going again here in a little bit, then maybe. I'd be surprised, but I can't rule it out altogether. From Michael, tacos or hamburgers? My first answer is yes. In general, I think it is really hard to mess up a hamburger, but I think you can mess up a taco pretty easily. Absolute high end, give me the taco. But in general, if I got to make them, hamburger. I'm not going to mess it up nearly as bad. From Ryan Kennedy, who is your favorite player on the Cowboys and in the league? It used to be Sean Lee was my favorite player on the Cowboys. I'll stick with the same answer on both of these here right now. I'm going Dak Prescott right now. Great person, great football player. Dak's my number one right now. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, it was going to be Jalen Smith. Oh, how the turntables from that perspective has not gone quite right on that one. Now, if you want to learn more about me on Twitter, personal life, mediocre jokes, hit me up on Twitter at @WhatGoingDowney. My DMs are open, by the way, in case you have questions about the Cowboys or whatever, at @WhatGoingDowney. From C1L2D3, what is your Ezekiel Elliott stat line prediction for this upcoming season, knowing it is 17 games right now? So I'm going to go with Zeke gets about 65 carries this year. He goes for a let's be really nice and say 4 yard per carry average. So that puts him around 1,200, maybe a little bit under from that perspective. He'll probably catch around 50, 60 passes, go for 350 yards. I'll say 9 total touchdowns, somewhere in that range. A good year out of Zeke. Not best year ever, but good enough. From Santiago Marquez, do you think the Cowboys will be playoff contenders this year? Yes. They are at least the second best team in the NFC East, even if you love Washington, which defense, yes, rest of it, not really. So, yes, I think they will be playoff contenders. Will they make a playoff run, a deep run? That's a little bit more up in the air. From Chuck Norris, I like that. Should the Cowboys pick up Jamie Newman? Not the first time someone's asked me this, by the way. I thought Newman was borderline draftable. Talk about a just brutal development to your stock there. Plays great first half of 2019 for Wake Forest. Number one receiver gets hurt. He's terrible. Transfers to Georgia. Opts out. Doesn't play. Bad at the Senior Bowl. Goes undrafted. And then gets cut by Philadelphia in June. There's only one answer as to why Philadelphia cut Newman already. He was bad. They have Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco. That is it right now in their quarterback room. You want a third, so Flacco's not throwing it so much in camp. You want to keep that arm a little bit lighter because he's older. So Newman was bad. That's the only possible explanation there. So to answer your question, probably not. He was not good for the Eagles. Why would he be good enough for the Cowboys? Now, if you want a backup quarterback in general, I get that. Well, it's not great right now behind Dak Prescott. So name a backup quarterback that you want to add. Get your votes in for me in the comments section. From DK again, do we need to be concerned about Donovan Wilson's injury? Not right now. I do think it is at least noteworthy / worth mentioning / maybe a bit of a red flag that Wilson apparently has a minor knee issue after, according to Brian Broaddus, not being around the Cowboys that much in the offseason. Bit of a red flag. For now, no. Let's check in again in late July, early August, however. From Kalapi Patel, if you could pick any player from the Cowboys and get their full potential next season, who would it be? Oh, that's a good question. I think you have to go on the defensive side of the ball. Like, you got to pick one of those defensive players. I think from a production potential standpoint, I'm actually going to go DeMonte Casey. Because if I can get a ton of interceptions, that is immensely valuable to me. In terms of what I think the guy can be from an upside perspective, I'm going to go Micah Parsons. As a linebacker, if he can get to his potential in coverage, that would be a huge addition for the Dallas Cowboys. All the questions you see are coming to us from our live audience here. We're live 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays for normally over an hour. If you want to join us, you got to subscribe. Hit that big red button and join us so you don't miss a single video here at the Dallas Cowboys Report. X2Pro Skillz. Will Kelvin Joseph ever be CB1 on this team? Maybe. My hope is that he's not really cornerback one because Trevon Diggs is. I love Trevon Diggs. I was higher on Diggs relative to where he went and what I had graded on him than I was Kelvin Joseph. I think Diggs has a little bit more talent and upside. I'd be happy if both become borderline cornerback ones or CB1A/1B. I would be putting my stock, though, in Diggs being cornerback one for Dallas. From my burner account, more money for the baby fund. Thank you. Tom, what is more likely? We win our 6th Super Bowl or another NFC East rival wins a Super Bowl? The drought seems never ending. If you're playing the odds, the Cowboys are due, right? I actually think I would lean Cowboys winning a Super Bowl because they're the only team, at least for now, which could change at any point, in the division with a stable quarterback situation long term. Fitzpatrick's probably the second best in the NFC East, but he's old. Daniel Jones, maybe he breaks out, but he hasn't been good so far. Jalen Hurts was not good last year. Now, the Eagles have a bunch of draft capital. That's concerning to me, but I feel better about where the Cowboys are at long term than any team in the NFC East. From Alex Wilson, what would you say is a bounce-back year for Zeke Elliott? Cut down on the fumbles for starters, like 1 or 2 total. Anything over 1,000, 100, 200 yards is probably a good season. If he can be a closer for you, if he can stop making the mistakes and give you some bigger plays, I'll be happy with Zeke Elliott. From Thomas now, I think maybe you've underrated the defense this year. I think Quinn's defense has been able to open up our eyes and wind up top 10. I would love that. And if my next comment means I'm underrated it, great. But I also know this. The Cowboys defense, until they played backup quarterbacks in San Francisco and Cincinnati, were historically bad for this organization. They were terrible. And I do think a scheme change will help. But your secondary's still young and mostly unproven. You still got coverage concerns around your linebackers. Your DTs have not proven anything so far. The defense's talent right now, potential is top 10. I think expecting a unit to go from bottom 5 to top 10 in a singular year is tricky. Now, I do think the production will look better because of the caliber of opponents the Cowboys are playing. If they can get to league average, I'll be very, very happy.